Jessica Stone has details from our newsroom. Jessica, let's start with Russia, though. Will President Trump sign the bill which levies sanctions on Russia, Iran, and the DPRK?
Well, we don't know yet whether President Donald Trump will sign that law, but the White House has been very clear on one thing. They don't like a provision that's in that sanctions law, which would bar Trump from easing or waiving penalties on Russia without congressional approval. Now, Thursday, his spokesperson refused to confirm that Trump will sign the bill.
The president and the administration support sanctions against Russia, Iran, and North Korea. We continue to support strong sanctions against those three countries, and we're going to wait and see what that final legislation looks like and make a decision at that point.
By the way, the bill can still become law without the president's signature if it goes unsigned for 10 days, Mike.
And the president, meantime, shaking up his staff for the second Friday in a row. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's been a wild day just watching, but before returning to Washington, here's the sequence of events. The president was on the road to make a big speech to law enforcement in New York, and even before exiting his aircraft, he tweeted this from the tarmac. Quote, "I am pleased to inform you that I have just named General or Secretary John F. Kelly as White House Chief of Staff. He is a great American and a great leader. John has also done a spectacular job at Homeland Security. He has been a true star of my administration." John Kelly.
Reince is a good man. John Kelly will do a fantastic job. General Kelly has been a star, done an incredible job thus far, respected by everybody. A great, great American. Reince Priebus, a good man. Thank you very much.
Reince Priebus there in the middle of that graphic, the former chief of staff at the White House. But, you know, this has really been coming after a very public war of words that he has had with the brand new chief of communications for the president by the name of Anthony Scaramucci. He's a Wall Street investor who Trump just appointed 1 week ago to that position. Now, Secretary John Kelly, for his part, he's a former U.S. Marine, the current head of Homeland Security. He will be the new White House chief of staff, and he starts Monday, July 31st.
Well, that's how they ended the day. Of course, the day began with this dramatic vote in the Senate, major legislative defeat on health care early Friday morning. Did that factor into this decision at all?
Well, entirely possible, because Reince Priebus, the former chief of staff at the White House, he was essentially brought in because he's an old Washington hand, someone who really knows how to move legislation and motivate the Republican Party faithful. But as we know, he could not corral lawmakers in his own party to pass this rollback of national health care. And that is something that President Trump really wanted lawmakers to get done. It's had many different attempts. All of them have failed on Republican Party lines alone. This is going to stall Trump's legislative agenda. Big things like cutting taxes and funding major infrastructure spending. Now, one of the deciding votes against this stripped-down health care bill came from Senator John McCain. You may remember he ran for president a number of years ago. He returned from a brain cancer diagnosis to Washington, and Trump praised him at that time just because they needed his help to get the bill to the floor for a vote. But I would note that since he voted against the president's health care plan, there has been no praise from the White House for Senator McCain.